Chapter 2: Removing Negative Mental Habits. In order for you to remove any negative habits in your life, you must work through the mind. In this chapter, you will clearly see who you really are. You might think that you know who you are, but in reality, you're not that person at all. Unless you really take a look at yourself and study yourself, you will find that your life is one big illusion. It takes a lot of courage to really see and experience yourself, to know yourself. Experience what your mind is telling you, what it's thinking as I tell you this. You could very well hear a little negative voice arguing with what I'm saying until you see it for yourself. Take a look at one person you know in your life. Look at who they are. Do they know, and I mean really know who they are? Do you see them differently than they see themselves? And when you are finished thinking about that person, choose another person in your life. Do they know who they are? Do you see them differently than they see themselves? No matter who you look at, you will see them differently than they see themselves. What makes you different from them? Do you know yourself? Do people see you the same way you see yourself? Now the real question is, who's seeing the truth? The answer is neither of you. Each person has allowed their mind to create how they think they see themselves, or how they see other people. Unless you have looked at yourself and other people with pure intention to really see the real them or your real self, unless you have really looked with your heart and felt it, you don't know the truth. However, you can learn to see the truth. You just have to break and remove negative mental habits that are working automatically, because these habits are now out of control. No matter whom you know, from friends to family, you've put a judgment on every single person. For some reason, you think that you have the right to put each person you know in some type of stereotype. It's because of your own delusion that this false image is how you know them. The problem here is that you think you're right. Well, the only question I have for that is, who are you to make any judgments on how anybody is? You have no right as a person to judge anybody, especially when it comes from you, a person who doesn't know themselves. I'm not saying that you can't have an intuitive feeling about someone, but intuition and judgment are two entirely different things. The judgment has to stop. Every person has gone through some kind of experience in their life, and every single person has encountered something really difficult in their life to deal with, and it isn't just one thing. These experiences happen all through our human life. Some people come out of these situations strong and force themselves to put it aside. Other people have come out of it getting completely beaten up physically, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. But no matter how anybody comes out of these situations, there is one thing that we all have in common: that none of us have been strong enough to stop these habits that run through our mind and remove them altogether. All of us, no matter what life we live, good or bad, have a little negative voice that we have allowed to get in our way and block us from the very things we care most about. The negative voice blocks us in relationships to having the things we want, to having the life we dream of. This is the same out of control negative habit that puts judgment on every single person you lay eyes on, and not to mention yourself. Why should these negative habits be removed? Let me explain this further. Removing these negative habits from your mind will give you a life that's real. When you no longer have these negative mental habits, each person you meet or know will be real to you. You will be able to feel them in your heart for who they really are. You'll be able to see them through the illusion that they're living, through the past that they may be carrying, or through the pain and suffering that they may be experiencing. You will be able to see and feel the very spirit and soul of the person. Your spirit will sense the gifts that these people have and the purity that they've come from. All of your relationships will be stronger and deeper. When you get to the level where you see and feel people in this way, that the mental mind can create judgments on them. The reason for this is because these judgments, like I said before, are self-created or created by other people. The mental mind won't be able to break through the purity and connection of the subconscious level. The amazing part of being able to see and feel the state is complete truth. There is no illusion at this level. When you're able to see other people and yourself with this purity, you help and heal each person in a specific way. By being able to cut through the illusion that is formed around them and within them, and around you and formed within you, from the mental mind and the energy of illusion that was created, allows you to get in touch with purity and truth. This gives you the power to bless and heal others and yourself. Every person will be blessed in a different way. They will receive this purity and truth within the energy around them and the energy that then affects them in their lives. This energy will then live and grow to become a part of them, and soon they'll be able to see and feel who they really are. It has been scientifically proven that energy carries and lives on forever. This energy will grow and affect the person that you blessed, and in return will keep growing, affecting each person they come into contact with, and soon amazing changes will take part in people's health and lives. This isn't the full effect either. There is also a universal law that everything you do or say has an effect. This universal law is known and proven as the law of cause and effect. For every single action, there is a reaction. Most people look at this and place their perception on the fact that an action is only a physical action. However, there's a lot more to this law. Mental thoughts are action. Energy is action. Sight is action. Feeling is action. Things that are invisible to our naked eye are also considered actions. Every single happening and manifestation in this universe is included with this law. The reason why I've gone here is to let you know and realize that by seeing these people and yourself in this way will open you up to receive your own blessings as well. Every time you see and feel people with this truth and purity, you're receiving and blessing yourself. Of course, by telling you this should not be the reason to see people in this way. You can't change yourself and how you see each other because you want the blessings. If you do, then you're going right back to where you were in the beginning and tainting it with the exact opposite of purity and truth. When you create these illusions and judgments you have about other people, you're creating a negative energy that goes directly to them, and these energies do have an effect on them. The energies will create negative influences in any and all aspects of them, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. These effects are not only going to affect other people around you, but also affect you as well. This reason alone should be good enough to change your ways, but it won't be. The number one question is why? Why isn't this a good enough reason to change the ways of how we are all affected by these negative mental habits? Well, one reason is because we don't really know how to take responsibility for our actions unless it's a physical action that we're faced with. Even then, it takes courage and commitment to change these things. When it's done, you feel good, refreshed, and you feel relieved from the situation completely. At first, this feels like a lot of work because it takes a lot of courage to recognize these thoughts. This courage is usually about breaking the fear of what other people will think of you. The reason why this is a fear that affects the human population is because when you meet someone, you can usually sense something from them just by what these people's thoughts are. Each one of us as humans have gone through an experience of meeting someone who didn't like us because of how they perceived us. You usually don't even know how they perceived you, and you feel uncomfortable and allow them to keep this judgment on you. In other instances, you meet someone and through your own perception thought that the person has put a judgment on you that you feel is negative. Take a look at this and recognize what I'm saying. When you look at it this way, you can really see that the negative mental habits do, and how it's one big out of control illusion that was created. Now see how far it can spread. This example that I'm using is in every person, in every continent, all around the world, and it needs to stop. In the last chapter, you did an exercise that helped you come out of into contact with your spirit. And you were able to feel emotions for yourself that have been hidden because of your perceptions. Now, reminding yourself of the last chapter and keeping note on what you read in this chapter so far, or what you've listened to, I have a question for you. When you look at your family and close friends, do you instantly feel love for them? I'm not talking about mental love. I'm talking about the real emotion of love. In reality, we should be able to feel love in our heart instantly when we think about or see someone close to us. If you have children or parents and you think about them or see them physically, you should definitely be able to feel real physical love instantaneously without a thought. Don't kid yourself too much here. Most people can't feel emotional love for the closest person around them automatically. This is because the emotions that you have for even the closest people in your life are blocked by your illusion of who they are and what they have done or where they have come from. With this block, you can't feel the truth and purity in the very essence that that person closest to you is, and that's disgusting. Your family and friends haven't really meant anything to you at all. And guess what? They feel the same about you. All of you hope that you will be able to get closer one day, but perceive that you do feel that the love is strong in your family, or that your family is perfect right now, while illusioned you are again. I know for a fact that you could love yourself, family, and partner a lot more than you ever thought imagined. And it is very simple. Imagine how beautiful your relationships would be and how fulfilling you would feel in your heart. And know all this beauty lies within you. This beauty of who you really are. You were born with it and it lives inside of you. It's just blocked by a little bit of illusional perception and negative mental habits. These blockages must be broken. One of the major root causes that create negative mental habits is that little negative voice that seems to rule our lives and goals. First, you need to change your perception on this negative little voice. Where does it come from? When did it start taking effect in my life? Why does it sound like my own voice? And is it really me, or does it come from somewhere else? Let's start at the very beginning. When you were born into the physical realm, you are born with your own unique and very special gifts. Each one of these gifts, and each person is born with a divine purpose. This purpose will change your world and the world around you with the very special gifts you are born with. When you're a young child, you live young. You have no worries within yourself and you're completely free. You feel free and secure, mainly because you can't comprehend what's going on around you at such a young age. You don't understand the adult issues that these big people are talking about or dealing with. You're just completely free. From the time you're a beautiful newborn until about the age of 3, your mind works completely different from the rest of your life when you begin to grow. In the first 3 years, you learn about the familiar faces you see often. You begin to recognize some of these faces around you, so you open yourself up to feel them. This is how you begin to learn to trust. When a strange face comes by and you first see it, you then open yourself up to feel it. You sense whether or not you want that person to hold you. And if you don't feel safe, you respond in a cry or a squirm because you have no other way of communicating. You just want to be held by someone you know and feel safe with. At the same time, your senses are developing. Your physical body begins to develop as well. You begin to roll, crawl, and soon after you begin to walk. In the first 3 years, your focus is mainly all about you, your security and your own growth. There really is no fear here that would change your life forever, is there? When you grow into the next stage of development, the ages from 3 to 5, a lot of things begin to change. You begin to form your perception of the world around you. From the earlier stages, you've created some strength, truth, and confidence of who you are. Then all of a sudden you find yourself in a world of right and wrong, rules to abide by, being told what to do and how to act. This is a big change for you. All of a sudden your confidence and worth is subject to others around you, and you are now forced to grow and change to what other people expect of you. The security that you now get is from your accomplishments and your good behavior. It is this age where you now have to keep yourself well behaved, preoccupied, and independent. You now have the ability to realize that the adults have a lot more to take care of than just you. You begin to see how much stress is really around before you even know what stress is or feels like. The pressure is now on. You see how the adults around you are now more preoccupied in their life with their stresses. But you need to keep growing and learning. You're more independent because the attention is not focused on you as much. You're walking a fine line with all of this going on. And you are now worried about how these adults feel about you and whether or not you're behaving to their standards. For a 3 to 5-year-old child, that's a lot to worry about. And this is just the start of living life. For a lot of people, this is where their perception is changed. And the change of this perception is where the root cause of negative mental habits begin to take form. The mental mind is now focusing on the adults and other people see you as how they feel about you. The more independent you are focused, to be starting at such a young age is measured on how much other people love you or what they think of you. This independence now has to keep you busy. This is where your imagination starts to take place as well as fears. Your imagination teaches you how to pretend. You create games for yourself to play with and learn to talk to yourself. Having to adjust to these new feelings of independence also has the effect of fears coming into your life as well. You're by yourself. You're keeping yourself preoccupied because you know that the other people around you have to use their energy on everyday circumstances that they need to live and deal with. You have now begun to talk to yourself. You are now more alone than you ever thought could happen. You feel it's your fault, and now there's a major expectation that you need to fulfill. Because you're now using your imagination to fulfill time and still able to connect with the natural gifts of feeling, you now use these two aspects to monitor yourself, situations, and the environment around you. With your imagination alive and your feelings strong, the mind then begins to create a perception. This created perception is the cause of independent fear, which begins to speak to you through the mind and sounds like your own voice. You begin to listen to it. By listening to it, you then feed it and it grows and becomes a part of your mental state. I've shown you the transition of childhood, starting at a young age. I'm using this as an example for you to see how the mind changes through our growth and how this negative mental habit enters into our being. This example I have used is very common to major amounts of people. However, the same example can also affect people at different ages and through different circumstances. Please don't be narrow-minded in what I have written about the above example. Remember, I've told you before, to be fully transformed, you must feel it. This is exactly what I want you to do about the above example. Feel it. Know that somehow and sometime in your life, being completely innocent, you began to create your perception through your imagination and feelings of your environment, which gave birth to the very negative mental habit you now have that needs to be broken. From the time that this mental habit actually formed, and through our lives, we have innocently given birth to it and fed it, as well as allowed other people to influence it. So now that you can see and have the idea of how and when this creation has taken place in your life, let's take it a little further. Why does this negative mental habit sound like your own voice? One reason why this mental habit sounds like your own voice is because we created it within our own being. We believed that this seed of growth came through our imagination and intuition. Therefore, this habit created the same voice as our true intuitive self and imagination. The negative mental habit that has been formed is merely created from untamed energy within and around our beings. The conscious mind allowed this habit to grow without even realizing it. It aligned with the present perception that the conscious mind created. This tricks you into believing that it is the same voice as your intuitive self. The voice that I'm speaking about is not your intuition at all. Actually, intuition will never speak to you in a negative manner. It may warn you about something or someone, but it will never talk you down. I will call this negative mental habit that speaks to us as ego. It is now realized that a lot of human beings actually hear two voices inside the mind speaking to them. That is why so many people have difficult time relaxing their mind. They don't know how to quiet the chit-chat. The chit-chat never seems to stop. In order to have peace of mind, it is a necessity to let go of this ego, because the way you presently function does not allow you to feel what you truly desire to feel. So this block must go. When you let go of this ego, you'll find that there will be no more depression and regret. This change is necessary, will bring something new and refresh your life. It will also be a turning point in your life that will bring you to new friends, experiences, and fulfillment. This is the beginning of the change of consciousness. It is an initiation for you that will bring you to a new opening of intuition and self. It's a lesson of sacrifice because the old must be left behind or die before rebirth can take place. Just by reading this will give you the strength of a warrior. This warrior you become is an intuitive warrior, with body, mind, and spirit as your strength. Here you must be willing to work with harmony. You must face your own fear, develop your own spiritual courage and strength of will. Know that will is not impulse or desire. It is an unwavering strength within us that seeks your personal truth and path. After hearing this, you will have the opportunity to put this into action. You are now a powerful forward-moving energy, giving you the mastery of circumstances through your determination and courage. Use this strength and stand your ground and be firm. But remember, don't be aggressive or lose your temper, or you'll lose this energy of your warrior self. Whatever your fight is, use the strength to keep your head clear of the ego and watch for new victories. This is the development of will. You'll be pushed into physical extremes to force your will and consciousness beyond your ordinary state. All of us humans are subject to many fears. It is this warrior's energy within us to seek them out and fight. You must recognize that the body has its own fears. Fear of pain, injury, and physical danger. These fears keep us safe. Our mind also has another set of fears, fear of change or consciousness. To conquer these fears, development of the will is necessary. To deepen fears within our being lie within our mind. The deepest fears within our being lie within our mind. They may arise from childhood or adulthood experiences and conditioning. These fears limit us and stop our growth. And this warrior within you must confront each one of them one by one and deal with them properly so they can't have an effect on us. Your spirituality is your own quest, and you must find your own truth. This will be proven by being honest with yourself that you can do much more than you ever thought was possible. Break the illusion of your own self-imposed limits. At this point, you'll discover and realize that you must begin to develop a spiritual will. Go deep inside and develop the strength by confronting the fears that lie deep within. This untamed ego is nothing but disillusion. Open yourself and trust that you are safe and taken care of. Even now, as you realize that everything you have created in this illusion is collapsing, please don't be disappointed or upset at the loss of your old self. Even though you see this illusion, Feel the hope that's around you. The way out of this illusion is within you. You are now standing on a crossroads. Listen. Are you being told to step? This very second will show you how important you are to your life. You are not living it at this point. You want it. My intention here is to bring you to an end and to tell you that your life is built on a false foundation. Believe me when I say that it is all over. Use this newfound strength and be more truthful with yourself from this day on. This road you have now stepped on is a rebirth that will give you dishonesty with yourself, or give you honesty with yourself, acceptance of yourself, and the light of life that will shine from within. This light will be so bright that other people, no matter how illusioned they still are, will see it clearly. You now have the sight and wisdom to recognize mental habits that are negative within yourself and others, as well as anything negative that will approach you. This new enlightenment will prove to be true in your life. This truth will first be felt as hope. It seems that human beings, this feeling of hope is part of our survival instincts. This feeling of hope comes from our intuition, because you can take a close look at whenever you have experienced hope, you'll come to realize that this hope has come from somewhere else. Hope speaks to you. Hope makes you feel more positive. Hope brings you the right perception to look at whatever situation that you need to have hope for. You will clearly see that those people with hope will always conquer more than those without it. Whether it's a sickness or other insufferable circumstances, hope can bring miracles to work. This part of your transformation will bring a new beginning through some kind of experience that will give you new hope in your near future. It will also bring you the courage and strength to keep going on. Your vision will change and you'll feel a renewed mental, physical, and spiritual energy. You'll be able to receive help from unexpected sources, and you'll renew your faith in human nature. Through this transformation right now, you'll not be clear of any long-term plans, but will rise above your unhappy past situations. If you take this hope and faith and carry it into your future, with this hope and faith, you'll be surprised by your love for humanity, and you'll trust your own spiritual insight. The voice of intuition, the feeling of intuition, the sight of intuition, and the knowing of intuition will be crystal clear. From this time on, you'll experience illumination and amazing clarity and vision. You're now centered within your being. Your false image is destroyed. To go further at this point, you'll have to learn to feel inspiration. This inspiration will keep you centered, as well as keep you living in the light. Being centered and living in the light is for your own development of finding your true self. This feeling of inspiration that you can clearly feel through your entire being will tame the negative mental habit, the ego, and allow it to become one with our intuition, our natural state of being. This is the place where our body, mind, and spirit become one. This is where we feel whole. Except that now that we feel whole, we still need to change our physical lives. The only way to see and change, and to see the need to change our lives, is by admitting that through your past you were deceiving yourself. You were lying to yourself. you haven't been truly happy, and you were treating your family and friends badly. You didn't love them, you weren't feeling them as much as you could. You need to admit that you were breaking promises and that you haven't truly been reliable with pure intent. By being able to mentally admit these things, you automatically open the door of your heart to a whole new meaningful life. Remember that the path of illusion, the path of ego, and the path of negative mental voice is a dead end. That dead end is here. Your heart is now yearning for a better life, and you have given yourself the courage to obtain it. Another thing that can trigger the ego, negative mental habit, is your own physical life. Do you put more energy into the importance of possessions and material gain than you do with your emotions? Really take a look at this. Humanity has allowed materialism to dominate their lives. Money is only paper and metals created by trees that give us air and minerals that lie beneath us as we walk on the earth. It is our attitude that humans towards money that created a mental perception that tricked us to be dominated by it. It affects the whole world and every person, and it needs to change. I'm not talking about the need of money. I'm talking about the mental perception that created fear behind it. Nowadays especially, it seems that people cling too tightly to their money and material possessions. They value themselves in terms of what they own. This is an outward lack of personal growth. People who cling tightly to money become limited and create blocks of various kinds in their lives, not to mention blocked energy and blocked self-expression. All these blocks create internal and external stagnation. When you get here, you're stuck. You don't know how to move forward. It is important to let go of things that you no longer need physically, spiritually, and emotionally so that you can allow your life to move forward with free-flowing creativity and energy, inspiration. By not allowing the material world to dominate your life, you actually win. Your financial life will become a reflection of the foundation you have built for yourself. This way will restore your faith in yourself so you can appreciate personal strength, determination, and inspiration that brought you the life you dreamed of. It will help you remember that through your life, people and opportunities brought you to where you are. With this realization, you can automatically be more generous to people you're meant to help in your life. It will also help you to feel out how you should spend your money and how you should live your life. With this, you can only be proud of who you are and what you've done and excited about where you're headed. The power will resonate physically, mentally, and spiritually. With this power, you're creating anything possible to be made manifest in your physical life. It gives you a renewal of inspiration, dedication, and respect towards material creation and financial success. This is where money really comes available to you. This is where you open the door of receiving, that there is no fear of money here. The illumination of faith and vision is now even stronger, tying together body, mind, and spirit as one. Being balanced in these three bodies helps you master your intuitive self as passionate fire within the center of your being. With this power, you can fight or create anything you desire. You become more independent, your will is strong, and you're aware of who you are. Nobody will be able to touch this or take it away from you. This is where you are completely safe and your frustration is unshakable and your foundation is unshakable. The only thing that will come your way to change this new growth and inspiration will be situations and experiences that will take you even further on your divine life purpose. To get there, one thing needs to be realized. It is the realization that you are fearful of receiving. Why are your hopes and fears the same? Can you recognize that what you truly desire you actually fear? This matter needs to be healed. Your transformation has given you emotional healing, mental clarity, and a new way of looking at your physical affairs. A lot of acknowledgement and realization has entered your life, and you've already received it. This is where you will take receiving a step further. You need to feel it, see it, and you need to know that what receiving really is. Receiving is an element associated with the subconscious mind, emotions, and instincts. This is truly where we feel complete, important, and discovered. Get used to the fact that receiving is an overwhelming rush of emotions and feelings. It's intense and amazing. It brings you great spiritual fulfillment and connection with your being. It allows your soul to feel free, opening the doors to unconditional love. You'll become aware of this free-flowing energy and how it heals. You'll receive spiritual healing and become aware of amazing healing powers within you that will give you a healing touch. This can change other people's lives and your own. The feeling of receiving is like a shower of joy that keeps you pure and growing through the rest of your life. You will receive guidance from your intuitive self that opens you to the possibility of a higher spiritual life force and a higher spiritual life source. This true perception that is now part of your life makes you feel beautiful and inspired. This is where new talents are discovered. Receiving is also a key to your home life and family. It opens the doors to love and contentment, happy relationships in marriage and your children. It transforms your home into a welcoming place, as well as your own sanctuary. Along with all of this, receiving opens you up to adventure. When you're stuck in illusion, there's no adventure. You will see that this new world is full of new experiences, places to see, and people to meet. It gives you excitement and action. It brings passion to your challenges and makes you feel fearless. Once you feel secure in receiving, you'll only stand for truth. You'll be incapable of lying and have no reason to do so. This will make you all the more loyal to yourself and others. You will walk your life as a free spirit and will not be tied down. All of this has been with you all along, but now realizing this gives you power and powerful energy and excitement that allows you to live your life. You will feel like you've been given a second chance and that nothing can stop you. This second chance has healed you and recovered you from fear, as well as opened your eyes to newfound possibilities within your own greatness. My intention in this chapter was to show you how much negative mental habits take effect in our lives, especially when it comes to people closest to us. I feel that the perceptions that humanity has for one another was apparent in this chapter. It is very important for you to take a look at the people around you in your everyday lives, to look at them and acknowledge what you really feel and see them as. Recognize how you've perceived them and try to feel if they know how you've been feeling about them. It's very important for you to see the truth in your relationships. When you're looking at your loved ones, really take note on how you're feeling and whether this feeling can be stronger. See where your untamed ego speaks to you about them and start there to fight it. Don't pay attention to it. Remember this, the untamed ego will only talk to you when there is something amazing past it. The fear and doubt that speaks through this ego is not real, it's an illusion. Anytime you hear this negative voice, the ego inside your mind, take note on what it's saying and ignore it. You'll soon see that this untamed energy will become less and less apparent until it's eventually gone. Allow yourself to see and feel the potential love that you can have for people in your life. Each person was brought into our lives for a reason. Do you know why each person in your life was brought to you? Try to see it in everyone around you. Why were you brought to them? Do you know? Congratulations. Being able to see the creation of your life and the illusion that was created within it took a lot of strength and courage. I feel confident that you are now clearly experiencing how amazing you truly are. You have now completed the transformation of death. By focusing on toning out the negative mental habit, opening yourself to receive and feeling hope will prepare you for the next chapter. Please take one day to focus only on ignoring the negative mental habits within your mind. It's important to really see what's going on inside your mind and using your warrior spirit within to take control over it so that you can feel what is real. To be fully transformed, you must recognize it.